Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Footy Fans podcast. It's me, Liam, and today I'm with Izzy. And today we're doing the second part of the teams in the Premier League of who they should sign and sell in the January transfer window. Obviously, we did the first part already. It's already up on the channel. So if you want to go and watch that before this, go ahead. But yeah, we're doing the second lot of teams today, and we're going to start off with Tottenham. So currently, Tottenham are sixth as we record this. Um, Obviously, they've got a good team. I think they've definitely ever since they sold Ericsson, I think they've struggled in the midfield department. So I've gone with a player that they were rumoured with, I think last season or the start of this season, was Coutinho from Barcelona. I think he's still a very good midfielder, very talented, obviously very good at dribbling and his skill. But I think he's not really been that great at Barcelona. He's been on loan at Bayern Munich, and I think he'd be good. It would be a good signing from Spurs. It would be hard to say how much he would be, but I'd say probably in the 50 million area would be a decent amount for Coutinho and would be a decent signing for Tottenham. Who do you think they should sign, Izzy?
I've gone for Hakimi. Obviously, Coutinho is a great shout because, like you said, there has been no replacement for him as of yet. But Hakimi's got 7 goals, 4 assists in 17 games as a right winger. I think Lucas Moura just hasn't been good enough this season with only 1 goal, no assists in 13 games. Don't get me wrong, he's produced some amazing moments for Tottenham in the past, but he's just not consistent enough. With Hakimi, he's got pace, agility, awareness, everything you want in a winger he's got, and I think bringing him in will make that attack even more lethal.
To be fair as well, Hakimi is very versatile. He can play either side and also in fullback as well. So it's quite a good shout, to be fair. But in
Yeah.
terms of selling, I think one that isn't a bad shout is Dele Alli. First season that they signed him, he was very good. Obviously from MK Dons, he started well in his first season for Tottenham. Second season he did all right, and now I think ever since then he's kind of just fallen off. He's not really doing that great for Spurs, and I think a move away could possibly revive his career in a way where his confidence might come up, his skill might come up, and he might develop a bit more. Where he goes, I wouldn't know, but yeah, like I said, I think Dele Alli wouldn't be a bad shout for Tottenham to sell.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've gone for him as well. So like you said, he came in a few years ago and he was meant to be the next big thing. Now he can't even get into the starting 11. I think he did have a massive potential and he's not too old and he's still young and he could reach that potential. But he definitely needs to find new club if he wants to sort of reach the heights that he was supposed to. And like you said, there is time to revive his career, but it's not going to happen at Tottenham. So he definitely needs to move away.
Yeah, definitely. Next club is West Brom. Obviously, newly promoted team this season, not doing too well this season either. Sitting 19th in the table. They've been a bit off. I think it's fair to say they've not really been scoring the amount of goals that they should be needing, which is why I've gone for a striker. I've chosen Francesco Caputo, who plays for Sassuolo. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
And obviously he's a very good striker. He's a bit old. I think he's 33, but I think it's that bit of experience that West Brom need in terms of leadership and in terms of what they need at the moment. Sitting 19th in the Prem, if they don't improve, they're going to get relegated, and by January, 19th is not where you want to be. Well, I can speak from experience as well. Watford was last season, and we got relegated. So I think West Brom needs to be bringing in someone with a lot of experience, whether it be Caputo or whether it be someone else.
Yeah, I've gone for Berisha from Salzburg. He's obviously Salzburg are renowned for creating Haaland, turning him into a great player, and I think they've got another really good striker on their hands. In the Champions League, he's got 4 goals and 1 assist in 6 games, and 7 goals in 10 games in the league. I think if he's half the player he is at Salzburg at the moment, as he would be at West Brom, I think they'll definitely stay up. I think you might as well take a chance. You haven't really got a striker that's doing much at the moment, and you could have a really good young prospect on your hands if he does well in the Premier League.
Yeah, to be fair, it's a good shout. Who do you think they should sell, though?
I've gone for Karlan Grant. They've got too many strikers that aren't performing, and I think if they do end up bringing in a striker, they definitely need to offload a few to bring in money. Karlan Grant hasn't actually brought anything to the team. I'm not sure he's even made that many appearances. And they just need to get some money to buy a player that can actually get goals.
That's fair enough. I've also gone for someone that's been a little bit bad for West Brom, not really performing. I've gone with Matt Phillips. He's a winger, and I think they could possibly sell him for around £5 to £10 million. He's played 14 games and only got 1 assist and scored no goals, which is not what West Brom need at the moment. Considering, like I said, they're 19th. They need someone that's going to be scoring goals, that's going to be playing the games, and also being consistent. And like by their stats, Matt Phillips just doesn't seem good enough. Next club is Leicester, currently sitting second as we record this. They're obviously a good team. Like, you can't argue with that. They've got a good team, good attack, good midfield. I think they have got a good defence, but like I said, they haven't really got any depth in that defence area. They've got Ricardo Pereira in right back. They've got, I think it's Castagna in left back. And they've got Soyuncu in centre back. But then, I mean, Johnny Evans is good, but I think they could use someone else that's better there, which is why I've gone with Samuel Umtiti from Barcelona. He's only played 3 games this season for Barcelona. He's been, obviously, 3 games isn't really enough for a player as his standard, and I think Leicester would be a good place for him to go. They've got a few French players there already, so he would fit in quite well. He wouldn't be that much money compared to how much Leicester probably have in their club. I'd say probably around 40 million would be fair for him. But yeah, Samuel Umtiti would probably be a decent signing for Leicester.
Yeah, he would, and you're right. They definitely need that depth in defence if they want to go and do what they did a few years ago. I've gone for Wilfried Zaha. I think since their title-winning season, they've been looking better and better. Their team is very strong, but they need some consistent wingers to be able to feed it into Vardy. Obviously, in those attacking midfield spots, you've got Harvey Barnes, Maddison that do very well, but then you've got players like Mark Albrighton who just aren't good enough anymore if Leicester want to replicate what they did in 2016. Zaha's got pace, power, he gets goals, and I just think he definitely boosts the attack.
You mentioned Mark Albrighton as well. I've chosen for someone that Leicester could sell. Like you said, he's not really what it was in the Premier League winning season. He's falling off a little bit. I think it's fair to say he's kind of like a bench player for Leicester now. And I think if they cash in now, they'd probably be able to get 10 million maximum. And like you said, signing someone like Zaha or Samuel Umtiti would probably be where they could put that money towards. So yeah, somehow Mark Albrighton they probably should be selling.
Yeah, I've gone for Iosi Perez. He's a good player on his day, but he hasn't really brought anything special to this Leicester side. He made a great impact at Newcastle, but just can't do it at Leicester. I think if he found a team that fits his play style a bit better, he could be back on the score sheet more frequently and doing what he was doing at Newcastle. And he was a pain for defenders back then. I think he has got the quality to be able to cause havoc to defences, but just not at Leicester. So I think he needs to move away.
The next club is Crystal Palace, currently sitting in 13th. I think as much as Crystal Palace are, I think it's fair to say they are a mid-table team. They belong in the Premier League, but aren't really a top 6, top 10 team. So where they are at the moment is okay. So I think they need someone that's going to sort of be a staplement. But then again, with the player that I've chose, you wouldn't really think of him as a staple player. And I've gone with Phil Jones from centre-back. Obviously, the defence is probably their worst area. And obviously, when you say Phil Jones, you really think of him as like a sort of a meme player. Obviously, when you search Phil Jones, all you get is the faces that he pulls. But when you actually look at him as a player, he is actually quite a good player. He's very good. He's a very good leader. He can tackle well. And I think Man United aren't really using him that much. So a player like Phil Jones, Crystal Palace could really get for around 15, 20 million and just utilise it. And I think he'd bolster their defence quite well.
I've also gone for a centre-back. I've gone for Konza from Aston Villa. Really good, strong at the back for Villa, and he does get the odd goal, which is good for Palace as they like to play on the counter and they only really get goals from counters and set pieces. Palace have an ageing pair of centre-backs. Their contracts are ending soon, and if they don't get their act together and get some players in or renew these contracts, they're not going to have a strong centre-back partnership to try and keep them in the Prem. I think if you bring in a young, talented player like Konza, who's got plenty of time to get even better, it would definitely help them out massively.
Yeah, it's a good shout, to be fair. In terms of selling, I've gone with someone who has been okay for Crystal Palace in the past, but he's nearing the end of his career. Well, not career, sorry. He's nearing the end of his prime, and that's Christian Benteke. like I said, he's been all right. He's had a decent career, but he's 29 years old. He's not really scoring that much Crystal Palace anymore, and like I said, he is ending the end of his, nearing the end of his prime. So yeah, Christian Benteke had self Crystal Palace.
I've gone for Ayew. Similar to
Yeah.
Benteke in the sense that he just can't score. 1 goal in 14 games just isn't good enough. I think just get rid of him, get a bit of money to go and get a better, more consistent striker that can help you climb the table.
The next club is Leeds, obviously newly promoted as well, but they've had a bit of a better start. They're in 12th. Obviously, the signs that they made, like Rodrigo and Rafinha, great attacking signings, and they've obviously helped them this season. So, again, I've gone for another defensive signing. I've gone for Nico Elvedi from Mönchengladbach. He's been doing well for them this season in the Champions League. And I think a signing like that, he's young, he's not too much money, and he would do a good job for them in terms of their defence. I couldn't really name anyone that's that great in the Leeds defence. So signing someone like Nico Elvedi, who is like a little bit fast, he's got a bit of pace to him, he's good at tackling, and he's good on that, like pushing forward and sort of taking the ball and running with it. So yeah, Nico Elvedi would probably be a good signing for Leeds.
Yeah, I've gone for Escudero. He's a left back from Sevilla. He fits Leeds amazingly. He's a fullback that can attack and defend. He's skillful. He's got a great pass on him. He wins duels when defending. He's got the full package, and he is 31, which is a bit risky because you can only have him for a few years. But he's a second option to Acuna, so I think starting a new challenge is great for someone start in the final chapter of their career. And I was watching him play, and I just thought instantly Leeds would definitely be able to use someone like him. So yeah, Escudero for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Who would you sell though in Leeds?
It's a bit controversial because you've just praised him quite a bit, but I've gone for Rodrigo. They did pay a fair amount for him, and he was a great player in La Liga. But I just can't see him handling the Prem consistently. He hasn't been that great, and I think they should just take as much money as they could now and put it elsewhere. I think Bamford does a much better job, so there isn't a point keeping him up in the wage budget. Bamford has played 17 games, got 10 goals, 2 assists. Rodrigo's played 15 games and only got 3 goals. And I think the stats tell you the full picture. I think Bamford was a lot cheaper and he's doing a much better job. So I'd sell Rodrigo.
I mean, in terms of Rodrigo, he is a good player. There's no sort of denying that. But I think maybe a striker isn't actually his position. I think if you tried out Rodrigo on like maybe the left wing, where like say you'd have Bamford, Rafinha, and Rodrigo as a 4-3-3 sort of formation. So in terms of Rodrigo as a striker, yeah, he's not been the best, but as a winger, he might be a little bit better. In terms of selling, I struggled, to be honest, to find someone that Leeds should sell because I think they've got the right amount of depth. I think they've got the right amount of players that they should have for the Prem, who are all decent. They've either got young players that could be up and coming, or they've got players that are squad depth and they can be used if needed. So I've simply just gone for someone that's old, like getting a bit old, not really playing. And with Pablo Hernandez, 35 years old, he'd probably go on a free. He's just, yeah, I couldn't really find anyone that Leeds needed to sell or it would make a difference with the money. So yeah, I've just simply gone for Pablo Hernandez.
Yeah, he's kicking on massively, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to just offload him.
Yeah. Next club is Wolves, currently sitting in 14th. Obviously, when you think of Wolves and who they could buy, you automatically think Portuguese because that's what they've been doing for the past few seasons. And I think someone that they haven't got yet, who is Portuguese, who is doing fantastically this season, and I think you can't even deny that, is Renato Sanchez. Obviously, Wolves' midfield consists of João Moutinho, Ruben Neves, and maybe someone else because they've got quite a few options. But I think Renato Sanchez would fit into that Portuguese three quite easily. And yeah, he's only 23 years old and he's doing well this season. So I think that would be quite a good signing for Wolves.
Yeah, I didn't even. Well, I sort you instantly think of Portugal, but I didn't actually write a Portuguese player. I put Ivan Toney for Brentford. I think since Jimenez's injury, it's been a big issue up front trying to get a goal, and I think proved massively yesterday, losing 3-2 to West Brom. Jimenez, despite the fact that he's meant to be coming back in this pretty soon, I think he's going to be in and out the squad for the rest of his career. It's a very bad injury it's going to keep him out for a while, and he's never going to be back to the form he was in, unfortunately. So I think they need a striker that can fill in and get goals when he won't be available. Tony is Championship top goal scorer at the moment with 16 goals, 4 assists in 22 games. Brentford won't want to let him go, but I think for the right price, Wolves can get him in and he'd do really well. I think Fabio Silva just hasn't really done the job for them. So bringing in a striker that can actually handle the pressure. He's a proven goal scorer. Whether or not he'd be able to do it in the top tier, we'll see. But I think he would do very well.
In terms of the players you mentioned as well, like Fabio Silva, I think they signed him. They signed him when Jimenez wasn't injured, so I think they signed him as the next best thing. When Jimenez is older, Fabio Silva will be in his prime, and obviously they didn't expect to see Jimenez have this injury that will, like you said, probably keep him out for the rest of his career. But in terms of someone that I'm going to sell, it's funny because I mentioned him as a free with Renato Sanchez. I think Joe Moutinho, he's still quite a good midfielder, but he's 34 years old. He's probably not got many more seasons in him. So if you're going to sell him now, or maybe keep him on until the end of his career. But he's on the wage budget. You might as well lift him off put him somewhere where he can end his career, let him move to Portugal or something, and sort of just get rid of him now. Maybe get a little bit of money for him.
Yeah, I've gone for Patrick Cutrone. He's had one great season in Italy, but it's once again a player that does it in a separate league but can't replicate his talent in the Prem. They've got enough strikers, I'd say 2 is enough, and they've got under 23 talents that can come in and do a job. And if they sign one this window, I think they just need to get rid of him, because I think he's an example like Moise Keane, who just does it in one league very, very well, or in foreign leagues well, but when it comes to the Prem, they just can't handle it. So I think if they get rid of him, he can sort of get his career up and running again elsewhere.
Yeah, to be fair, when you look at the Premier League as well, it is a really hard league. It's just as simple as that. Next team, however, is Burnley. They're currently sitting 17th in the table. Obviously, if they don't start performing, they might be one of the teams that get relegated. And I was looking, and they haven't really scored that many goals this season. They've only scored 9 goals this season. And I was looking about at strikers that they could possibly sign who's quite good, who will score goals and maybe help out a little bit elsewhere. And I found one person who would be a very good sign for Burnley, and he fits into that team well, is Andy Delort from Montpellier in Liga. He's currently scored 9 goals and assisted 6 in 18 games. So he's scored the same amount as the whole Burnley team has this season. He would probably cost around 20 million. So in terms of how much money Burnley's got to spend, I don't know if that would be a massive hit. It might be a little bit, considering if they get relegated, that type of money can really help a team in the Championship. So I don't know if it would be a bit of a splash out. It might be more than 20 million, considering how good he's doing currently in the Liga.
Yeah, definitely. And he is a proven goal scorer, so he should hopefully help out Burnley. I've also gone for a striker, Milic from Napoli. His contract ends in the summer, and he fits that Burnley mould perfectly. They're known for having strikers with big presence, and that is Milic in a nutshell. He scored many goals in his Napoli career, I think just under 40. Barnes and Woods are getting older, and they're just not performing at their best, so I think a switch up at striker would definitely help that Burnley squad. He's not playing as much for Napoli anymore, so I think it's a good chance to get game time again. He is in his early 30s, I do believe, so just sort of finishing off, helping out a squad that's not the best would be quite a good challenge for the end of his career.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not a bad shout. In terms of selling, I've gone with someone that, funnily enough, despite them not even being in Premier League, I've mentioned my team quite a bit so far. I've gone with a player that Watford are quite interested in. I know the fans are interested in getting him. I've gone with Matej Vidra. Obviously, he is still quite a good striker. He's still got a bit of time left in his career, and he's not really playing for Burnley that much. And he has got interest from other Championship clubs, but I'd like to see him come back to Watford. Obviously, he played for us when we were last in the Championship, and I think if he came to a team like Watford, he would be able to revive his career maybe if we get promoted this season, he could start properly playing in the Premier League. And yeah, I think hopefully if Matic Vydra was to be sold, I think he'd come to Watford.
Yeah, I've also gone for Vydra. I think the biggest reason is very simple. Burnley don't need him, especially if they do bring in a striker. We've both said they need to, and I think he'll go even further down the pecking order. I think actually Watford probably would be a good shout because I think Vydra will be perfect. I think he's gone 8 games this year with no goals, and a lot of his shots aren't even on target. So clearly confidence is an issue, and I think it's a waste of his career being a bench warmer because he has got talent, and I think at the right squad, in the right team environment, he would be able to do very well.
Next club is Manchester City, who are currently sitting fifth as of when we record this. I think obviously when you mention City, you instantly think they've got ability, they've got players upon players, they've got players that are incredible now, and they've got players that are going to be incredible in the future. So I think I've gone with a player that is definitely. I've said I've got 2 players that are definitely going to be incredible in the future, because I don't think they really need any players for the now. So for one, I've gone with Erling Haaland, but I've also gone with Eduardo Camavinga. I think that's his first name. Obviously, he plays for Stade Rennais. He could be anywhere between 50 and 100 million compared to what Stade Rennais would want for him. But obviously, he is a fantastic centre mid already. He's very, very young, and he's going to be quite good in the future. So if Manchester City want to sign anyone this January, I think someone like Haaland or Camavinga or anyone of that stature who is good, who's young, wouldn't be a bad shout.
Haaland especially is definitely a good one because we've seen before he's admitted he's a bit sentimental with the teams he wants to join. Like he'd like to play for Leeds because he was born there. So I could see him going to City purely for the fact that his dad played there in the past. I've gone for Guerrero from Dortmund. I think Man City have always had a left-back issue. The rest of their squad is unbelievable, but at left-back they've never really had a consistent player that's really good and fits in well. I think Guerrero could definitely fix that. He can play left mid, centre mid, left back, and he's mainly playing full back at the moment. So he'd fit into that back 4 at City. He's got 12 games, 2 goals and 6 assists, which is very good for a player in defence. So he'd definitely do well at City.
I mean, like you said, it's fair to say that City haven't had a great left back for a while. I think their last consistent left back could be said was Kolarov. Yeah. So they haven't really been having a great sort of left back ever since. I think they've tried to play people like Fabian Delph and then people like Joao Cancelo at left back, and I think they sort of really haven't been sort of claiming that position that well. Yeah, like you said, someone at that calibre who's been doing well in the Champions League and in the Bundesliga might be quite good for Manchester City. In terms of selling, who do you think they should sell though?
I've gone for Ben Mendy. I think not only has he been disappointing on the pitch, but also off it. I think his footballing ability isn't the best, but most importantly, just the way he's let his teammates, manager, fans, just everyone down. I think, as a footballer, people look up to you. He's a role model, but that mentality of being a footballer, being above the rules has clearly got to him. I think if you keep someone with that sort of poor attitude, it's just going to affect the rest of the team. And it's not like Kevin De Bruyne has had a bad attitude or done something he shouldn't have. So it's not like a big loss for them anyway. But I think just get rid of him and have a positive environment at the squad. He's just not part of that.
Yeah, to be fair, when you're a team such as City as well, you shouldn't be having players like that who act like that in a sense. And yeah, someone like Benjamin Mendy wouldn't be a good player to have in that squad if he carries on doing what he's doing, to be fair.
Yeah.
But in terms of selling, I've not gone with Benjamin Mendy. I've gone with maybe a bit of a controversial one in the sense of he kind of still does play for Manchester City, but they've got a lot of positional depth in the defence in the centre backs. So I've gone with John Stones. I think he's a good centre back for City, but then again, if he moves away to a team like top 10, maybe mid-table, he'd look like one of the better players there. So I think if he moves away, he might be able to become a better player, become a bit more of a leader, and then maybe later on in his career, he might be able to come back to City or come back to a team of that calibre and be a better centre-back. So I've gone with John Stones. The next club is Southampton. They're sitting 8th in the table. And in terms of signing, it's funny I mentioned John Stones. I think Southampton could honestly be signing John Stones. Um, their defence isn't the best. I think they've got a good team. They've obviously got Danny Ings up front, who's doing well for them. It has done for a while. But signing someone who's a big staple signing for a team like Southampton, John Stones would be a good signing. And like I said a minute ago, if John Stones was to go to a team like Southampton, he could then improve there. He could get leadership there. He could gain some experience and then go up to a team like Liverpool, where Liverpool signed most of their players from Southampton. If Liverpool ever needed another centre back, John Stones could simply just go over to Liverpool.
Yeah, and him partnering with either Bednarek or Vestergaard would be very good. I've gone similar to last episode with the Brighton one. It's a bit unrealistic. I've gone for Pedro Neto. I know it's probably never going to happen, but he'd be an amazing signing. I think Southampton need a winger like him to get the ball into Danny Ings, Che Adams, and just help them get even more goals. We've seen it at Wolves, he makes that attack so much better, and I think he'd definitely do the same at Southampton.
In terms of selling, I think I've gone with someone that's quite fair. A bit like one of the teams previously, they've got quite a good team in terms of squad depth. They've either got youngsters that are going to be up and coming, and they've got players that are coming into the end of their career. So I've gone with Shane Long. Obviously, he's done well for Southampton in his career. Obviously, he's broken the record against Watford of the fastest goal scored, and he's scored quite a few decent goals for the team. And I think now he's 33 years old or around that. I think it's time for him to sort of either hang up the boots or go to a team where he can make a difference instead of just sitting on the bench or not even going to the matches for Southampton. So yeah, someone like Shane Long wouldn't be a bad player to sell for them.
Yeah, I've gone for him as well, and I can only really re-emphasise what you've said, but his career is coming to a close, and I think you should just end it on a positive note and join a lower league team where he can be the marquee player, get loads of goals, because he's not able to do that at Southampton. He hasn't scored at all this season, I don't think, and they've already got two strikers in Che Adams and Ings, so yeah, it's definitely time to go, being as old as he is.
It's the last team now of this episode, which is Everton, currently sitting sixth. They've had I think it's fair to say, on and off season so far. Like a lot of teams that we've gone through already, I think they need to sign a defender. I've gone with Fila Carrera. He's very tall, very strong. I think he's about 24, 25 years old. He's got a bit of pace to him. He can play the ball out well, and he's just a very good centre back who Everton could utilise a lot.
Yeah, he can't be getting into that PSG squad at the moment, is it? Because you've got Marquinhos, Kimpembe. It's just he's getting shut out massively, so he would be a good one. I've gone for Max Aarons. I know that they've got Coleman, and he's been great for Everton for many years. He probably goes down as a club legend at this point, but his career is coming to an end, and I think they do need to be thinking about their future. They've done it with many of their signings, so they need to at right back. Aarons is strong both in defence and attack. He's got pace, which is vital in this modern Premier League game. He'll be a bit expensive, but we said it about Nathan Ake in the last episode. He should be a bit cheaper, as get a lot cheaper players in the Championship, because you can make the argument, well, he's a lower league player, so we can get him cheap. So yeah, Max Aarons would definitely help them.
I've just thought, now that you've mentioned Max Aarons as well, I've just thought that Norwich have some fantastic players in their squad that a team like Everton could utilise, and I think a player like Buendia as well would be a very good signing for Everton.
Yeah, they've done it as well in the past with Ben Godfrey. Just got him from Norwich, took him in.
In terms of selling for Everton, I've gone with someone who's got a lot of lack of consistency. Obviously, he is good, but at the same time, he's really not. I've gone with Alex Iwobi. He's played 15 matches for Everton this season, and he scored 1 goal and got 2 assists. He is obviously really skillful and he is a good player, but I think he's just not Premier League level, or he's not good enough for Everton.
He's shocking. I know he got a goal the other day, but apart from that, he's nothing special. I'm not sure if my choice is cheating, but I've gone for Moise Kean. He's on loan at the moment at PSG, but he just plays so much better in foreign leagues. Like with Juventus, amazing. Signed with Everton, barely did anything. He's been loaned out, and he's back to the form he can be in when he's at his best. So I think he fits the playing style in foreign countries much more. So it's probably best for him to go.
So anyways, guys, that was the last team. So thank you guys for watching. If, like I said at the start of the video, if you haven't watched the previous one or any other of our videos, make sure you go and watch them. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Footy Fans channel. And yeah, we'll speak to you guys and see you in a bit.